I know.
Matt's backtesting like a daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play option. Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Is it time to make the joke that you haven't seen anybody since last year? Is it too early for that joke?
Is there a new joke?
Yeah, I haven't. Good morning, Chad. I haven't seen you guys. I haven't seen you in a year. I haven't seen you this year.
That old New Year's dad joke. Yes. Classic sauce. Surprised you could hear me telling my dog to lie down apparently during the song. I didn't realize we weren't all auto muted during the
No, it was perfect. It was just some additional color. Good
It's
morning,
just real
Chad.
life. It's a work from home life when you have a dog in your den.
It is. Rusty and I, just to be honest, we weren't even sure if there was a show this morning. So this is a ready, fire, aim situation. So good morning, chat. There's a few people watching, more getting on. Good morning. Maybe we'll have a back test or a model. Sometimes these unplanned, spontaneous shows let you behind the curtain. Maybe we'll have some behind the curtain content for you guys this morning. But Rusty, haven't talked to you since last year. Happy New Year.
Gosh.
Good origami man. How was your New Year?
It was good. It was super chill. I gotta say, it was excessively lazy, which is sometimes you need a lazy day. So
Perfect.
The college football games were kind of the highlight for me. I know you're not a college football guy, but listen, you're in the heart of it. Indiana beat Alabama.
Listen.
So my hometown, I grew up an IU basketball fan. Spoiler, nobody was an IU football fan. Nobody.
Yeah, it's barely considered a sport.
Dude, yes. To call it second, I mean, it was definitely
behind men's soccer.
Yeah, there was probably something else, volleyball, gymnastics. I don't know, but nobody cared. You would go to those games. Like I went to an IU Ohio State game back in the early 2000s, and it was all Ohio State fans, tiny stadium, not filled. But new coach, and the rules have changed so drastically with the NIL and everything else for the college football fans out there, that IU beat Bama, which I love, because Bama, the only team I think I hate more than Alabama is Kentucky. Sorry for anyone from Lexington or East Kentucky. I hate UK. As an IU fan, I grew up hating UK. Rick Pitino with the hack, foul, and wine strategy in college basketball. My dad, may he rest in peace, he instilled within me a great hatred for all things Kentucky. So
there you go. And listen, I am not an expert, but they are in different conferences. And now this is where it's going to get, Dan might get offended if he's not on the show. So the SEC has been getting destroyed by the Big Ten now for a couple years.
For a few years, the Big Ten has had their number. And again, you look at the talent, it's changed everything. The NIL and the transfer portal, instant transfer portal has changed.
Is that what's happened?
College football drastically. Yes. It used to be, I mean, there's just so many more football players coming from the Southeast, right? Part of the U.S. And so, most of those people stick close to home. You would stay with a program, all these different things. Now that because you can transfer instantly, people just go from one team to another. It's just kind of wild. So it's had a leveling effect on the sport in a big way. Not completely. You still got Georgia, Bama, Oregon in the college football playoffs and whatnot. But anyway, it's just an interesting.
But is it more honest? It sounds like they're being more honest about the fact that it's basically a minor league rather than an educational institution.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, it's a joke, right? I remember growing up, you would have these the
Oh
NCAA
yeah.
was hardcore, and like this player got disqualified because they didn't get their test scores, and like
Oh,
just no.
yeah, I've got stories.
Yes, and they would go after people for like the bagmen, right? Those are the people holding the bags of money that would pay off. They called them
Yes.
bagmen, who would give the
The
parents.
boosters.
Yes, they would give a bag of McDonald's bag of cash to some player's mom or dad. And now you can just pay them directly through a totally unofficial NIL collective. It's still crazy. It's still insane.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't like it. I'll be honest. I don't like what they're doing with it, but it is what it is, man.
Times are
No
changing.
one asked Rusty Mormon his opinion of college football.
Well, I saw too that there's something going on that I saw people getting riled up about. So you might know this, or chat if you can help us out. Something about it was like private equity and VC money buying sponsorships.
Oh my gosh,
You know,
really?
I need
PE has entered the conversation now with there. That's kind of apropos to what we're doing here.
I thought so, because some of the politicians were actually spouting off about it. And I just think, to your point, I'll have to get more detail on that, but the times are definitely changing.
Yeah, we
So,
need to. That needs to be our entry song. Is the time Dylan's times they are
yes,
changing.
that would be
Great song.
Troy could
Great.
sing it.
Troy could. He
The
could yell with it.
Troy Variety Hour. Listen, times changing. SPX. Let's do a postmortem. We can finally do a postmortem on the year. This is
On
what
the
people
year.
want to see.
Do
People
it.
don't want to hear about the discussion back and forth. SPX. Well, I'll just say this: futures are up 30. Bullish
Quite a
start.
bit. Yeah.
SPX finished the year at 68.45.
VIX is below 15.
VIX is below 15.
Officially dead.
Time to buy
Bury
some
it.
puts. Maybe if you're one of those people who buys puts when VIX is below 15, not saying you are, but I am. And let's see. So we look at I'm just going to do a 12-month candle, for SPX. We opened at, in the 12-month candle, we opened at, now I've got to be careful to say this, 59.03 last year. 59.0326.
Yeah.
We finished the year where we are right now, 68.4550. It was a move of 16.39%.
That seems normal, Matt. Surely the market will grow 17% every year, right?
Well, let's look back to 5. Let's go back. When do you want to start? I've got all these candles.
Well, if you're doing annual candles, just go back 50 years. Now,
okay. Let's go back to 2008. 2008.
That's apropos because I literally just watched The Big Short last night.
What a
I've watched that movie so many times.
What a shout out. So my quant is up right now on my screen, and it's telling me that in 2008, SPX was down 38%. 2009, up 23, up 12, 2010, flat in 2011, 2012, up 13%. Here's the deal. Here's where I want to go with this. It was basically in a drawdown from the end of 2007 to the start of 2012. Could you imagine, chat? Can you imagine this environment where SPX is in a drawdown for 6 years, 5 years? Like, that seems crazy. 2013, it was up almost 30%. 12, 11 the next year, flat the next year. 10, 19, down 6. We're up to 2019. It was up 29%, 2019. 2020, despite COVID, finishes the year up 16%.
Wow. 19 in 2019? That was
2019, it was up 29%.
29%.
In COVID, okay. Jeez. 2019 here. I mean, I could just share my screen.
No, you're good, man.
2019, we finished the year at 3,200. I'm just going to round. At COVID, so we bottomed out. Now. We bottomed out at 2,200.
So we're 3 times the bottom of COVID.
Yes.
Shapers.
2021 up 27%, lost all of that the next year, 2022, down 20, and then the last 3 years, up 24%, up 23%, up 16%. So we cooled off a little bit. Are we going to run?
It's a hot.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. What's your prediction? Andy, give us a Matt Andy your prediction.
I think it's fair to do this. I think we don't always need the prediction right at the beginning of the year. I think it's fair to wait till the end of the month. We're
Fair
doing
enough.
I think there is a guessing thread in OO already for 2026. I don't know what the cutoff was. There was one for 2025. I'm shamed to say I don't know who won. I'll have to look at it, but I don't think you won, Rusty.
I did not. I was bearish. Now,
I don't think I definitely
hit my
didn't
prediction
won.
and then some in April, but then the rebound off the bottom of the tariff news was insanely bullish. I mean, we bottomed around 4,800 and ended at 6,800. That is a heck of a rebound.
There's a guess from the chat.
Oh, we got a guess already. Okay, what do we got?
3,300.
Wow,
so I guess
to channel my inner
your inner
Big
bear.
Short,
yes.
To quote the ratings agency person, might you have a position at 3,300, Troy?
Right. Might you have a position? And what does this mean for you? Why are you so interested in this?
Yeah, why are you so
Might you have a position at 3,300, which would take us back to check notes?
Listen, I'll say this.
Pricing.
I'll say this. When the VIX, personally, when the VIX gets this low, this depressed,
yeah,
I like to load up on some very short positions, way out of the money, dirt cheap, not a ton. Like I don't. It's a very small percentage of my overall portfolio, but because they're so cheap, and because to quote interview we had last year in the show, that net units are what matter, or it was an interview on the channel, I guess. Because net units are what matter, just having some cheap stuff way out of the money feels good as a hedge of my overall portfolio.
Yes.
But I don't like buying hedges when VIX is elevated. It's best to buy hedges.
That's right.
Because no one likes to think of a bad, to quote Big Short again, no one wants to think of a bad thing happening. And so
that's right.
When VIX is 15, people are like, we're never gonna dip again.
You're right.
Upward. So
and you could, let's see, we could easily look at some hedges. Now, here's the thing, spoiler alert, behind the curtain, Rusty and I have backtest hedges a lot.
Yes.
We have. And
there are plus PE hedges, but the problem is the sample size is tiny.
It's tiny. And so if you
how many black swans can you have? By nature, you can't have that many, or there wouldn't be a black swan.
If you want to know what kind of hedges are you talking about, I'll just tell you, backtest all these combinations. Look at 1 delta through 5 delta, $1 through $5, 30 DTE to 90 DTE. That's a large swath. Those are very out of the money. You could do leaps. You could do all this. Here's the thing with these. The last time I had a hedge that went nuts, I didn't have one in 2025. Did you, Rusty? A multi-day hedge that went nuts?
You did, but I did not.
2024, I had one.
Oh, dude, it's been that long.
I had some 0-day hedges that did well in 2025, which I'm definitely going to continue and maybe even size up, thinking about sizing those up. I will say this as an aside, yesterday was my day to redo my portfolio, and I worked the entire day on completely other stuff. So it's going to have to be this weekend. But one of the things I'm going to do is work on more hedges. And here's the thing. You can find plus PE hedges. And here's the lesson that I have to relearn every time. It's not about the strike. It's about the vol. Like, it is about the vol changing. And so if you have a hedge that goes 40x, the way to think about it is that the way I have thought about it, at least, is that pays for your next 39 hedges. And, there's a lot, you can do a lot of back testing on it. We're going to do a segment on back testing hedges because the trick is, Rusty already spoiled it. The trick is that the more data you have, the more robust and trustworthy a test
Yes.
is. This is common sense. And we say this frequently. But with hedges like that, there's just not that many data points.
Yeah, there's only a certain number of times the VIX gets to like 60, right? Which is when
That's
you
right.
really start to see a good
That's
payout.
right.
I mean, when VIX gets like above 40, 50, 60, it's just not that common. Now, that happened
That's
last
right.
April. It happened the August before that with the yin carry thing. It happened, I'm trying to think before that, obviously I think we got a good spike in 2022, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Doesn't matter. Point is, well, it's
Not
two
frequent.
things. It's not as rare as you would think. That seems like it should be cataclysmic, but it's not as rare as you think.
Yes.
But it's not common either. It's, once every couple of years, maybe at most. It happened in 2015. It happened in
Yes. Volmageddon,
2018.
2020,
Yep.
2024. Yeah. So it's not frequent, but
Those weren't even like, let's be honest, like
those weren't crap. Well,
only
COVID was a crash. That was
crash was the
a
only
crash.
crash. COVID
Yeah.
was the only crash. The rest of those were just spikes due to fear, which is what volatility is, right? Fear ramps. That's why the people call VIX the fear index, and you get paid. So it's worth, if you're doing hedges, to even maybe test tranching out of them,
Yes.
right? Because you still want to capitalize on the VIX Volmageddon or the yen
Yes.
carry thing. It could be a blip, but it'll pay for years of your
Right.
hedges.
That's right.
And then maybe leave some runners in case we actually tank.
That's
Right.
right.
But
That's what I'm planning on backtesting actually is exactly what you just said.
yeah, I have some back
Um,
tests for that. And they perform admirably. But again,
so few data points.
you could have a bazillion actual entries, but the profitable exits, the times where they exit asymmetrically, are so rare that it's not like you're like, oh, this is a repeatable thing. It just kind
That's
of
right.
gives you an idea of, hey, if I buy a dollar SPX put
Yeah.
90 days out, what happens if VIX goes from 15 to 60 in the matter of
Yes.
a couple weeks? And
Yes.
then you can look and see and you can model it even, and you can kind of get an understanding of, oh, wow, it doesn't even have to get close
That's
to
right.
my price,
Yeah,
right? If
like
you buy what's a
to give
$1?
to give you an idea, a dollar put 90 days out right now is a 29 is a 29.
Yeah, so that's
That's
more than half.
that's what it is.
That's like a 60% drop in SPX. So SPX doesn't have to drop. The market doesn't have to
No.
drop 60%. It could drop 20%
If
in
we
a matter
drop,
of a
yes,
week, and VIX gets to 60, and that thing would be
what
quite
worth
handsome in its payout.
$5,000.
Well, who knows? We don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It could
It,
be. It could be. It depends on it's all about what the vol does
right.
in those events. And that is, what happened with not a ton of folks in the OO community. I'm not sure any, but certainly in a lot of options communities, there was a very popular trade, which was a back ratio spread where people would buy is like a 1-1-2, 1-1-1. There's a lot of variations of the spread, but the setup is actually, Rusty, should I model this out? I could probably model one of these out.
Well, go for it, man.
You want to explain what the setup is and I'll model it out.
For a
And
1-1-2.
yeah, a 1-1-2 or whatever.
Yeah.
1-2-2.
So here's the funny thing too. Before we get into that, I had this realization as I was watching The Big Short. If you remember the scene when, I want to say Michael Scott, but that's his name.
Yes,
Baum,
yes.
Steve Carell's character. Is it Michael Baum? Is that his character's name in the movie? Something Baum.
No, that is
No, Baum. His last name is Baum, and it's the guy at Merrill Lynch. He has a hedge fund, but somehow
Front Point.
Front Point.
Yes.
Vinny and Porter
Yeah.
and all that. So
Yes.
he's the lead of it, right? So he goes in the office of somebody. It's kind of convoluted, obviously.
Mark Baum. Yes.
Mark Baum, not Mike. Mark Baum. So he goes into the office, and she's explaining to him why Merrill Lynch is in deep trouble.
Right.
And she says that this guy at this trade desk had bought a whole bunch of credit fault swaps on like B or double B tranche, and he was like, oh, he's smart. And she was like, no, behind it,
Right.
he sold many more tranches
Yes.
at AA and AAA, more
Yes.
like disproportionately more to pay for it or whatever. And so this is kind of like the 1-1-2. Why is it like the 1-1-2, Matt? Because you're buying in the front and selling behind it in a greater
Yes.
quantity, which works until you get a crash.
That's right.
Works until VIX is 60. And so what you're doing generally, I forget the exact nature of the trade, but let's say you're
Yeah, I
doing like
got it. I got it on the screen.
90 days out. Well, you asked me to explain. 90
Yeah, yeah,
days
yeah.
out, you're going to sell. You got there's nothing. It's black. We're looking at the void.
It'll happen. It takes a second.
Still
Okay, here we go.
Okay, there we are.
So I just did a 30-day, but you could change it to whatever.
So I don't know what those deltas are.
I just picked a structure. So
fair enough. So let's say, listen, hold on. Let's say it's just a 20 delta, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
30 days out. You're buying the 20 delta.
Yes.
And then you're selling behind it.
Yes.
3 more puts than you're right, or 2 more puts than, so it's a 3-to-1 ratio.
Right.
Right. And so it exposes you a lot to the downside. People usually do this with futures options because it's a different initial margin requirement.
Yes.
And so what you're doing, because you're selling, if you land in the breadbasket, which is the distance between, the Yahtzee, but in between. So if you go up, you make a little bit of money, which is the initial credit.
That's right.
If you go down a little bit, you make some money, or you make a lot more money, which you see there. Here. But if you tank, scroll to the left. Scroll to the show, Matt. Scroll to the left a little bit.
Well, let's do this. Even if you don't tank, if the vol expands, this starts getting ugly quick. Now,
real quick.
I'm just going to preface this by saying this is a structure. Somebody's going to say, this is not how I set up a 1-1-2. I'm sure it isn't. Yeah,
you could do 1-1-1. It still looks ugly.
This is just a structure, and I just picked strikes to show a concept. So don't get wound up about the exact strikes and all that. I'm just showing a concept.
The point is you've sold more than you've bought.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
On the downside. So in a large movement, it doesn't matter that the strikes are far away. Like make the bottom one, do this. Make the bottom one 5,000 just for fun.
Sure.
You have to go to the chain. Oh, you can do it there, can't you? Yeah. Why does it your search keeps
I know my search keeps popping up.
So yeah, so you would probably do something like make that second one, make that like 5,900 or something.
Yeah, I mean right now it's
a debit. So let's say you wanted to try to get a credit for it. Now you're at a tiny credit. So the point is
you get money if it doesn't crash or vol expands, you're gonna make something. That's
but look at your max loss and max profit on the right. Yes. Obviously, you're not going to hit that max loss. You're not going to probably go to 0. If the market goes to 0, it doesn't matter what your options positions are. People are going to be driving around the streets with spears and spikes on their cars and flamethrowers.
That's right. And we'll be doing an OO show live.
Will we? Will YouTube even exist? Will the servers be running? We don't need to talk about that.
So here's the breadbasket. Like the idea with this trade is that you just eventually hit the breadbasket, right?
Yeah.
But
you mean the ideal?
Well, the ideal condition is it slowly, very, very slowly moves down.
I think the idea for the trade, Matt, is this. Most of the time markets go up. Yes. So you're going to get a tiny amount of money. Sometimes they grind down a little bit. So you'll gain money.
Yeah.
And I guess the theory is that markets don't crash or something.
Yeah.
That's just silly. If you backtest this, just go look at what happened in 2020.
Let's
put it in a portfolio. Look at your max drawdown. You would get margin called.
Let's do the inverse of this. Let's do what did I say? 20. Let's just do 3,000 for symmetry. So here's the opposite, right? Like you have to adjust the range here. But this is if you buy a put, like the loss is what you have.
Yeah.
And the idea with this is that you're going to lose money almost all the time. But what you really need, and it's pre-market, right? So IV and deltas or whatever are it's pre-market. You just have to know that. But point is, if you have a vol expansion, if vol starts expanding, your profit tent just gradually increases, right? Yep. Like that's what's more what's what has happened more frequently, at least in the past, than than the delta, because you need such a big delta move to get there.
Yeah, most of your
So
money you're gaining on the volatility aspect. This is
that's
the
right.
point of options are priced. Well, they're an auction, but Black-Scholes will say, like most option pricing models, IV is a huge component of them.
That's
People
right.
forget that. People
That's
forget
right.
that. People trade options as if they were futures often,
And
and
so
they're
if
not futures.
yeah, if VIX goes up, you can see the profit curve just starts to expand pretty dramatically. You can see these percentages are measured in thousands pretty quickly. So comment from the chat: 112 gets a bad rap. The risk is just a naked put. Size appropriately for your portfolio. I think
112. The side
yeah,
the risk is two naked puts.
right. So I think your last sentence there is an appropriate question, an appropriate sentence. Size appropriately for your portfolio. What is an appropriate size for people to sell a naked put?
Yes.
That's the question is, and we're not going to answer that because we can't. How can we answer that? That is an individual thing, but that
Well, and on
trade
top
got,
of that, let's be honest, most people do it with futures. Let's say
yeah,
you even have a moderate size account, so you're going to size appropriately, you're going to do this in MES, right?
yes,
And so your initial margin is going to look tiny.
yes,
But let's say you keep tranching into this, like, right, you're because these are 30 days out or 60 days or 90 days or whatever, then you keep putting these on, right? You keep putting them
yes.
on. Like, I'm telling you,
Rusty, we've both done it.
I have
Rusty and
done
I
this
have both.
trade.
I did it too. I've done them as well. It's been years. And
It's
why
been a
did you stop? Why
long
did you
time. It's been
stop
like
doing
4
that?
years,
I
3
remember
years.
why you stopped. Why did you stop?
So I stopped doing it because guess what happens to your margin requirements, even on futures options,
Yeah.
when volatility expands? Even in a normal, like not in that crazy August way
Yes.
of last year or 2020, yeah,
We
2024,
did them in
year and a half.
2022, just during a grind
My point,
down.
even during like a nice controlled
Yeah.
demolition, as we call it, right? A nice grind down with VIX kind of going upward. Your margin requirements go insane. You'll log in, you're like,
Insane.
holy crap, I have no margin left, right?
Yep.
And if vol expands anymore, I'm gonna get margin called. Like
And
something's gonna happen.
yeah, why don't
I
the
mean, it's gonna
put,
be awful.
why don't the put debit spreads offset that? Because they're capped. They're capped. Even if it goes all the way, if it blows through the put debit spread, you can never make more on the debit spread than the length of than
That's right.
the width of it. So
And because you're so far out, because it's volatility, again, the major component here is volatility and not delta, to your
that's right.
point. And you're 1 to 3 in your ratio, you're going to be upside down a lot in this
Yes.
trade. And so just know that, yeah, perhaps, as the chat said, perhaps if you have one of these
Right.
on,
In a large account or whatever.
yeah, if you have some tiny percentage of your account allocated to this, and not with initial, I don't even want to call it initial margin, because that is not the right thing. I mean, you need to think of
Right.
this: if you get a decent move, modeled out, figure out what you're doing and how much margin is going to require. If you're doing futures, which we don't even support at OO,
Right.
then you have to know that it's variable. Versus if you do this
Yeah.
in SPX, it's constant, right?
Right.
Um,
It seems much more. I've only ever heard people talk about doing them on indexes. It actually seems like the kind of trade where if somebody wanted to go, they could do it as an alternative to selling a CSP on an equity that you wanted to own that was maybe a very volatile equity. That would maybe be a different way of setting it up
you could do this
if
with
you cash
portfolio
secured it.
margin.
And you can do it with, but you could also do it.
Buy,
You could also do it as a way of going long. I mean, it's not really different than selling a CSP at that point, but the advantage is if you were on something that was more volatile, you could maybe hit the breadbasket a few times and hit the Yahtzee. So
yeah, there's I listen. I know
there's a lot of ways to trade.
I hate this trade, and why do I hate this trade? Take it, set it up in portfolio mode, do a portfolio with 112 in there. You can even add some other positions. I don't give a crap. And then see what happens during COVID.
During COVID, during 2020, what happens to open
even at
2024?
responsible account sizes.
Right.
It turns out that like naked puts at responsible account size during an actual black swan that you can't predict. That's why it's a black swan. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So,
and here's the big question. Algorithms have changed a lot. in 5 years since the last crash.
Yeah.
If we have and this is, I had a whole show on this last fall in October, which is why I started buying a 0DT put, buying them every day. We have not, the algorithmic responses that we saw in 2025 with the rapid movements in SPX, we saw it in April, but we had days where we were down a couple hundred points very quickly.
Yeah.
And nothing in 2025 is going to make the history books as an individual event. Now there might be a side note about stock market volatility due to tariffs.
The tariff correction.
There might be a side note.
There might be, right? Yeah, but it's nothing. It's nothing.
But it's not about. Nobody. Yeah, like there was not a geopolitical event involving any sort of weapon that we haven't seen in 80 years. There wasn't a major world leader that was assassinated. Like, I'm not trying to speculate on something, and I'm not saying I think something will happen. I'm just saying we didn't see anything like that happen in 2025, and yet we still saw a lot of tweet-induced volatility. We saw a lot of outsized volatility. And so if something like that happens, I just think the potential is there for an outsized move due to
there's still a lot of geopolitical risk.
As the chat says, is it the soybean trade wars? I don't know. Nobody knows. Here's the thing. I
like that.
If you get a DeLorean working and you go into the future and you know when the next event is, come back and tell me. Let us know. Come back in your DeLorean and tell us when that event is.
You don't even need listen, all we need is a 5-minute DeLorean to be rich with options. You don't even need like a decade DeLorean. But I'll say this. There's still a lot of I think there's still a lot of risk. I think there's been a lot of risk geopolitically and market-wise since 2008. Since the quantitative easing and the lowering of interest rates. It's just been like people have called, what do they call this? An everything bubble. But it's been kind of an everything bubble since
2012. If you look at those
money.
Yeah, if you look at 2012, shout out Sejeku, very smart. He said nobody wants to talk about the lost decade. If you talk about 2012, and you look at those, that's when after that, you can see these years when it's 15, 20%. 15, 20% back in the day was a crazy year for the stock market. We think it's normal. Yeah,
and we're not even talking about point moves. You're talking about percentage moves, right? And so it is wild.
We're talking about percentage moves.
That we have these 20, 30, 15% moves every year. It used to be like 8%. I remember people, I don't know why that number stuck in my head, but people talk
that's what the math averages.
Yes, an 8% gain is great and blah, blah, blah. And now it's just insane. So that says, I don't know what the market's going to do. We could have a 30% year next year, right? We could go to 9,000. I don't know where SBS is going to end up. I'll just say, Matt, that I look at the market. I'm a big fan of Nassim Taleb. I think things are pretty fragile and interdependent, right? We saw that in 2008 with the housing market. You see that with like part of that August thing was there was some banks starting to teeter a little bit. There were a couple of regional banks that went under.
SVB,
And so I was just looking the other day that U.S. household debt. Like this is residential. This is U.S. consumer household debt is in the trillions.
It's crazy.
I can't remember how many trillion. Like at some point, a number is so big it doesn't. You don't have your mind can't hold a trillion. Like it's just a silly number at some point.
Yes.
So I look at all this and I think, well, okay, VIX is below 15. I'll buy a put. I don't want to sell puts.
Right.
Naked. That's all I'm saying. And it could be a great year for selling puts until it's not. Go back test it. Back test it in 2018. Back test it in 2020. Back test it in 2015. Right.
Yes.
There's a number of times where this did terribly.
Yes. So if you want to talk about 112s on a future show, let us know. We can show some actual strategies people can talk about. We've got a chat that has strong opinions on both sides of this discussion. So listen, guys, thanks for checking out our spontaneous show. I've been told best show of 2026, best OO show. Listen, we're joking around, but here's the reality. We have a bunch of shows coming out. Troy is going crazy, guys. There are shows coming out. I think these have all been announced. I don't think I'm spoiling them. We have a show, navigation trading. We've already had that. We have a Fix My Back Test show coming. We
Yeah.
have it's been requested, lots of discussion, a small account show.
Yep.
Can you do some small account stuff? We got all that coming. So it's going to be a great year. Thanks for checking it out. It's Friday. Tomorrow's the weekend again. Stay safe, everybody.
I will say one thing I'd like to do at some point.
Yes.
Is talk about how the last year was a difficult year for trading. For any mechanical trades. If you're scalping maybe and you have some magic signal, maybe you did well. But I think there's a lot of people who scalped and do poorly. That's survivor's bias. I think trading in general, it was a profitable year. I made good money trading last year, but it was more difficult than the years. There was less blood to squeeze out. What is that idiom? Anyway, the point is
blood out of the turnip.
There you go. It was tough. And I have some back tests and some portfolios that go back to like 2017, the start of 3-day week for SPX and SPY. And you can kind of see while last year was good, it was not as easy for mechanical trading as years past. And I think that's worth talking about because we're in a mechanical trading product and a community that mechanically trades. So it's worth commiserating on that a bit, because if you're out there feeling like you're alone and you don't know what you're doing and things are blowing up, we got the small account challenge, as Matt's saying, but also on top of that, acknowledge that, especially if you just started last year. Yeah. Last year was your first year trading.
Fall was tough.
It was a freaking tough year to trade.
Yes.
For a number of reasons.
Yes.
You had an outsized move with lower VIX. Volatility was not high all year. It wasn't very sticky. And so you have to like go harder in the paint to get paid for the premium that you're selling and all this other stuff. It's just a tough year. It's a tough year.
So this is a longer discussion worth,
I know,
at least a show, if not many shows. So guys, Happy New Year. Thanks for all your support this past year. We really appreciate it. We have stuff coming. We're working on stuff. It's very exciting. And